Hi, now let me share to you a glimpse of the Philippines before the occupation of foreign powers. So this might help those who want to travel to the Philippines and a bit of history of our country will help you in a lot of ways. And this is the most important part that I want to share is that we have Black origins. So, yes, basically, we are a multicultural society and a multilingual nation. So, here goes. Please watch this. This might be a bit long video, but it's really helpful for you to get information like this. Yeah, we are proud to be, a diverse culture of people with diverse culture and diverse origins. And that's what makes Filipinos unique. So hope you like this and see for yourself how we have this Black origin. So let's take a look into the pre-colonial Philippines.
The Philippine Islands, located in Southeast Asia, are home to a rich and diverse culture of 100 million people. The country itself consists of 7,107 islands. But how did the archipelago come to be populated? Welcome to Nipa Tales History Series. I'm glad you can join me today as we journey through time, a look into pre-colonial Philippines. From the early human migration to the emergence of societies and early cultures. Understanding the pre-colonial history of the Philippines is crucial in comprehending the country's heritage, culture, and identity. So without further ado, let's begin. The pre-colonial history of the Philippines is an important aspect of the country's heritage. It tells the story of the people who inhabited the archipelago long before the arrival of foreign powers. The Philippines is believed to have been inhabited as early as 67,000 years ago, during the Pleistocene epoch. The earliest known record of human settlement in the Philippines dates back to around 30,000 years ago, when the Negritos, a group of dark-skinned hunter-gatherers, arrived from mainland Asia. The origins of the Negritos in the Philippines are still subject to ongoing research and debate among historians, anthropologists, and archaeologists. It is believed that the Negritos are descendants of the early human populations who migrated from Africa to Southeast Asia via land bridges. Some scholars also believe that the Negritos could have been part of the original human population of the region who later migrated to other parts of Southeast Asia and the Pacific. Over time, other groups of people migrated to the Philippines, including the Austronesians and the Polynesians. Recent genetic and archaeological studies have shown that Austronesians were one of the early settlers of the Philippines. The Austronesians were believed to have migrated from Taiwan to the Philippines around 4,000 to 6,000 years ago. They were a seafaring people who had advanced sailing technology, which allowed them to travel long distances and settle in remote islands. They brought with them advanced knowledge of agriculture, pottery, and metalworking, as well as their language and culture, which would go on to influence the development of Philippine society. Some scholars believe that Polynesian people, specifically from Samoa or Tonga, also played a role in the early settlement of the Philippines. The Polynesians, a subset of Austronesians that had developed their own independent cultures and identities, were seafaring people who migrated from the Pacific Islands to the Philippines. This theory is based on the discovery of pottery shards in the northern Philippines that closely resemble Polynesian pottery. The theory suggests that Polynesian people may have arrived in the Philippines around 2,000 years ago and introduced their pottery-making techniques to the local population. The early Austronesians had a rich oral tradition. They passed down stories, myths, and legends from generation to generation. These stories provided a glimpse into the beliefs and values of early Austronesians. The Austronesians who settled in the Philippines were primarily agriculturalists. The shift from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a sedentary lifestyle marked the beginning of agriculture. They developed sophisticated agricultural techniques that allowed them to grow crops such as rice, sugarcane, and coconut. This allowed for a surplus of food, which could be traded with other groups for goods. The development of agriculture led to the emergence of societies in early cultures. Trade networks were established within and outside the Philippines, connecting the archipelago to other Southeast Asian countries. The established trade networks were an important part of their early cultures. They traded goods such as pottery, beads, and textiles with China, Southeast Asia, and even as far as India. The emergence of societies and early cultures also led to the development of early political and social structures. The Austronesians developed social and political structures that were based on kinship and hierarchical systems. Barangays, or village communities, were led by a datu, a tribal leader who held political and religious authority. The datu was responsible for the welfare of his barangay, settling disputes and leading the communities in times of war. Social classes also emerged, with the ruling class consisting of the datu and his family, while the commoners performed labor and provided military service when necessary. The early Austronesians who settled in the Philippines were influenced by neighboring cultures such as China, India, and the Malay archipelago. This influence can be seen in the language, religion, and cultural practices of the Philippines. The Austronesians who settled in the northern part of the Philippines were influenced by Chinese culture, who introduced Confucianism and Taoism. They adopted Chinese customs and practices such as ancestor worship and even the use of chopsticks. The Austronesians who settled in the southern part of the Philippines were influenced by Indian traders who introduced Hinduism and Buddhism, while the Malays brought Islam, which also spread throughout the southern Philippines. The rise of complex societies and chiefdoms marked a significant shift in the political and social landscape of the Philippines. The early kingdoms and empires that emerged in the Philippines were characterized by the consolidation of political power under a centralized authority. The Kingdom of Tondo, which emerged in the 10th century, was one of the earliest and most powerful of these kingdoms. Other kingdoms included the Kingdom of Maynila, the Kingdom of Butuan, and the Sultanate of Sulu. The rise of complex societies and chiefdoms also brought about economic and social transformations. The growth of trade networks led to the development of specialized industries such as weaving, metalworking, and shipbuilding. Social classes became more pronounced, with the elite class gaining more power and wealth. Slavery also became prevalent, with prisoners of war and debtors being enslaved. The expansion of kingdoms and empires led to conflicts with neighboring groups. Warfare was common during this period, with the use of advanced weaponry and military strategies. The arrival of Chinese traders and later European colonizers further complicated the political and social landscape of the Philippines. The arrival of Islam in the Philippines is believed to have happened around the 13th century through the trade networks between Southeast Asia and the Muslim world. Arab, Persian, and Indian Muslim traders and missionaries played a significant role in spreading the religion. Islam spread first in Mindanao and the Sulu archipelago, where Muslim traders and preachers established communities. The arrival of Islam had a significant impact on the socio-cultural and political landscape of the Philippines, particularly in the southern regions. The spread of Islam led to the formation of sultanates and Islamic kingdoms in the Philippines. These political entities were ruled by sultans who held both political and religious power. Among the notable sultanates were the Sultanate of Sulu, which was established in the 15th century and covered parts of present-day Sabah, Malaysia, and the Sultanate of Maguindanao, which was established in the 16th century and covered parts of present-day Mindanao. The sultanates were characterized by centralized political systems, the use of Islamic law, and a strong emphasis on trade. The Islamic period in the Philippines saw the rise of a distinct Islamic culture which fused elements of the indigenous cultures with Islamic beliefs and practices. Islamic art, which included calligraphy, textiles, and architecture, flourished during this period. The Maranao people, who were predominantly Muslim, were known for their elaborate and intricate brassware, which featured intricate Islamic designs. Islamic influence can also be seen in the architecture of mosques and other Islamic structures, which incorporated local architectural styles and materials. Pre-colonial Philippines had a complex and extensive network of trading routes that connected different regions of the archipelago as well as neighboring